ReZero, definitely the best anime right now other than Attack on Titan, as they are airing alongside each other, but the hype is still real. 4 years ago, it was first aired back in 2016, and the hype has lived on since there thanks to its little bits of mystery. I say this because White Fox and whoever the fuck wrote ReZero, I can't be asked to do the research right now, but from what I've seen, they've done a great job with Natsuki Subaru. We go from season 1, he's just a normal weeb and neat as shutting. The guy doesn't go to school or anything, and he clearly has no social life or anything like that. Dead eyes, all that. But the moment he's transported to a new world, they're brought with life. He feels like he's starting a new life because he is, as the title obviously suggests. So to explain the brilliance of this development, we have to start from the beginning, even though his mother even says, it's not about how you start or how it goes, it's all about the end. The guy was pretty much useless, but he found a way, a place, and a path, even though it's filled with hurdles and it seems to be all written before him by those around him. It all started with that silver-haired girl. The moment that he thought that this is the darkest moment in his life, I mean, the guy's getting battered by muggers and everything after being slapped in the face that this is not the world for him. You know, some sort of paradise, a miracle for him, all being taken away from him and he's about to die, and the media is there to save him. This girl becomes a focal point because she's the one who saved him from the darkness, basically the brightness. And then in season 2 you see that Silver Girls is his things. So obviously, as he goes and works with her to find her pen or whatever, he starts to develop some sort of attraction to her as well. And yeah, she becomes his main objective for the rest of the show. Not in that sense, as you'll see, hell starts to break loose. While trying to help her, the man gets killed alongside her, making his last final words before death to be wanting to save her, his promise to save her. And respawning from his return by death, he finally has a chance to restart everything. After dying once again to muggers again, the brutal death was able to make him realize his ability, return by death. And because of his fixation on saving Emilia, he's able to get through finally. Obviously because of some luck as well, and his quick wits and determination, he was able to get through. Thanks to the Sword Saint Reinhard, Elsa was able to be defeated, the one who'd killed him, and he was able to pass on to the mansion. That's where he becomes friends with everyone there, and thanks to his skills and objective and all this shit, yeah, he's able to work at that mansion as well, being somewhat trusted by the man who offered him a place, well, offered him anything, but he decided to work there. And as he builds trust and bonds with everyone else there, the maids, servants, whatever, the man dies in his fucking sleep after getting a date as well. So his new family, all of them forget of it because he just reawakes from the bed. And he's in that fucking bed because he got slashed in the stomach by Elsa. The guy's no genius, he's nothing special other than his ability. And trying to get through the hells and obstacles that are in front of him do really make it seem it's not all worth it. It would have been better to have the dead life he had before. But he still persists and pushes on. And this is where he reaches his first hell. After discovering why his first death was during his sleep, while staying up by the time it had actually taken place, he'd actually experienced that immeasurable pain and all this shit because of some curse or whatever. But that's not the point. The thing is, he was able to run out and scream for help. But the moment he'd done that, he'd been crushed to death. I mean, this scene says it for itself. And that traumatic experience brought over to his return by death when he'd respawned, the man screaming. He'd concluded that someone attacks the mansion after that and sets up to go and survey from a distance instead of working at the mansion. And when he does that, Rem actually comes after him, one of the workers there, and that breaks him because Rem didn't trust him. He realized it in the other times as well because she'd used the chain before, and then using his quick wits he's able to evade the initial attacks and get the hell out of there. But it just soon becomes worse. Rem then proceeds to slice off his legs as he tries to run for his life, and then heals it to make sure he has a slow, painful death so he's not fast and is able to get a few words out of him. Subaru is confused why she trusted him so little and starts to break down. She then proceeds to crush him with her mace. This man is clinging onto his innocence and loyalty to Emilia as his only thing to back him up, but it didn't really matter to her. She still proceeded to crush him to death out of disgust. And then when she'd finally had enough, she finally spouted all her hate, her resentment towards his smell, his being, and all her other troubles had caused all of this to even happen in the first place. And Subaru, instead of responding with resentment towards her and hate and anger, he goes to sorrow and pain. That's why this is even happening in the first place. The feelings he had that he gained and that grew from him trying his hardest, studying, working hard, everything with Rem and Ram, with the sisters, and then for them to just kill him 3 times over, he's bewildered. He doesn't understand. And Rem's only reaction, only response to it is she doesn't remember. And that really hits Subaru, because even before with Emilia, they forget all these things. Only he remembers and recalls these moments, because to them it never happened. Because of his looping, this loneliness happens. And then his hate, his anger, everything, his trauma, everything that had built up from the looping, he spouts out that hate, that anger, the resentment towards the world, the ability. Why don't they remember? And as he tries to confess everything, his feelings, he's slit in the throat, because he is a babbling broken mess at this point. And he respawns to see the monster before him, the one that tore him limb from limb. This breaks Subaru's trust in people and causes him to curl up in despair. But he does realize he can depend on someone, Emilia. And when he tries to confess return by death, it slaps him in the face. An immense fear is imprinted onto him of his own death, and he knows he can't say anything, because that'd be the end of it all. Giving up, cutting her off, his only options seem useless, as if he can do nothing, and all he requests is for everyone to leave him alone. He lost hope in this family that he could have had. Clearly the man had trouble socializing and having friends in the other world, and that explains his clinging nature to the atmosphere and how he bonded to them. He truly did love them in a sense, but this betrayal, the pain, the torment of the ability of return by death and Rem, had almost shattered the man. But then a glimpse of hope came from Beatrice. Using his quick wit, he was able to form a contract to potentially keep him alive until the end of time, until his supposed time of death. And in the man's face, the look on his face when he finally survived this hell, the relief, which turns to confusion once he finds Rem's corpse. This is one of the great parts. This is the great qualities of ReZero. Is the mystery and the confusion here. You all made to believe one thing and then another. There's an attacker. Oh, it's Rem. Oh, Rem's dead. It's just confusing. And then you realize her cause of death is weakness during sleep, which is similar to what Subaru had. We'd initially thought that Rem had been in charge of the weakening and then killed him. But then this leads us to believe another thing. But the main focus of this scene right now is on Subaru, on what he knows, on what is going on. To put it simply, the mystery surrounding ReZero just grows with questions and more. That's just simply one of its greatest strengths. I mean, the horror aspect, well, intertwined with it, which makes it really great. Steins does a good job of it, but that's in the real world. And the fancy aspect of ReZero does it really well, with its mini plots and arcs that all intertwine together. But as I was saying, to focus on Natsuki Subaru, the mental challenges and anguish he has to suffer through and go over with what a weak person he is really, it's just amazing writing. Because of the motives, the reasons, the intentions, the reason he has that resolve and conviction to move forward is just really great. And that endearing part of it in Subaru. The main part I'll focus on here is when he does leave, he gives up, he runs away. You know, it's all hopeless. But then he remembers something. He remembers that Rem and Rom, when he was suffering, when he was going through those nightmares, they were there helping him. Just by holding his hands, they couldn't stand there and just watch him suffer. When he finally realizes that and puts it all together, his reasoning, he kills himself. But he didn't want to kill himself at first, because why would you want to do that? But he resolves to do it. Not through a simple act like putting a knife through him. He had to jump off. Even that is hard enough. He was too shook. But when he had it all pumping, his everything, his reasoning, conviction, fucking adrenaline, everything, that's what pushed him to jump off the cliff and help save his friends and those sisters. But the mental anguish the man has to go through to try and save them is what he puts himself through. The hurdles are one that he sort of creates, and the world around it just amplifies. He decides to be with these people and decides to go through these hurdles. Sure, environmental factors all dictate this and that, but yeah. But what I'm saying is he's able to get through it all, even though it pushes him to the point of just being utterly sick. He's able to actually do what he needed to do, earn the trust of Rem and Ram, because, well, Emilia notices the guy's pushing himself way too far, and Rem is able to see that as well once she actually points it out in a way. And this is where we get to the second part of the arc. He investigates, basically he uses his brains in that and gets through it all as well. He's able to outsmart the Mar beasts and take them all out, and actually properly earn Rem's adoration and respect and trust. She becomes the only character that's able to understand him. And then that's what brings us to the biggest hell I've seen so far for Subaru. I'll be going more in depth on it in another part, because this video is getting way too long. I'm gonna do like 1 to 3, 4 parts, and yeah, we'll be looking at other parts of the show as well. How the show, just how fucking great it is. That'll be Steins signing out. So up for more content on this. I hope to be getting the part 2 out this week or next week. And yeah, like the video and share it to the rest of the ReZero fandom. I hope to be making more videos on ReZero and other stuff. Put suggestions below what you'd like, and yeah.